Welcome to the Political Grift Podcast. This is your host, Corey. I would like to introduce a special guest of mine. I've been following him for a while, probably about a year now. He has the ability to grasp you and make you laugh hilariously. He has a history in performing arts. His name is AJ from AJ's Rant Room. What's up, AJ?
What's good? What's up?
I thank you so much for accepting my invite to this. I think it's going to be. I want to keep doing things like this, and I want to be able to get some interesting people on the show. Even though we do have possibly the same political leanings, I think that we are able to disagree and have meaningful conversations and put it out. Um, Tell us a little bit about yourself, AJ.
Native New Yorker, currently living in Texas. Um, what else about me? I'm an artist. I create first. I used to own a nice dance company, and that's gone. And now I feel like I'm in my purpose, which is writing, acting, performing, editing, and that's it. I'm all around cool person. You choose the version of me you get, pretty much.
That's awesome. Let me ask you a quick question.
What's up?
Did you teach dance?
I did. I taught dance most of the time I lived in New York. I was an instructor. I did studios and I taught at one school. But it was on the weekends and it was in the hood. And the reason why I took that job was because I understood that the kids in those neighborhoods were not getting the same quality um education as folks, where I was going with people who had the money. So I was like, yeah, let me give a little bit of my time to the community. So that's why I took that job.
Hmm.
Since I don't do nothing for the hood, I don't do nothing for black people. I do nothing.
Ooh, well, that got real personal real quick.
Uncle
But
Tom, Negro, Sampa, whatever. But go ahead.
yeah, you've been on some of your content on TikTok. You've been I saw something. You're like King Coon, and
That's I haven't done the King Coon in a long time. Yeah, I
that
gotta
had
maybe
me
I'll pull him out for
dying.
the holidays. I'll pull him out for the holidays.
Oh, Christmas King Coon? It'd be like the Grinch. It'd be like Krampus and King Coon. It'd be the KKK. Oh God, no, no, don't do that.
Oh,
Don't do
oh.
that. Whoa.
I mean, I would have to think about how I would do that. It would have to be very like you would really have to. I would have to think that.
Yeah. Oh, let's just no Krampus.
See, I told you. See, I told you.
Yes, the detractors and the political grifters. There's a reason why I named this podcast the political grift. I mean, I am also grifting, but I would
Oh no, I
also,
thought it was genius. I love when people straight up about their shit. Like,
yeah.
just tell me what the hell you here for. Don't sit up here and act like you. Oh, I
Oh,
love the people. No, you
yeah,
don't,
or
motherfucker.
mightier than thou, and so some people act like their shit don't stink.
Oh, jeez.
I hate that, and I'm trying to be as genuine as possible because this is all about growing, and this is about growing America. It's not like I'm so sick and tired of everyone's like you got to grow the community. Yeah, well, a rising tide raised all ships,
Facts.
and like I was talking in previous shows and stuff like that. Um, I came from a different country, and we came to this country to grow. My parents came from Jamaica because they wanted a better life for their children, and I love America, and it has afforded me the opportunities to raise my family, build my home at 25, and go through these things. So
Nice.
without these opportunities, I wouldn't be anything. So that I always get puzzled when someone says, America keeps black people down, and I just feel that's like a mental block. And then when you do that, you keep yourself in that mindset.
Facts. No, it is a mental block, and that's the challenge now. But it's kind of like mental and emotional abuse. It's like you can't see the scars because they're internal. If someone's busting you upside the head, you see that. But if when it's internal, you can't. It's really challenging to break through to that because you have to get the person to acknowledge that you're being manipulated. And when people don't get that, they're like, "Oh, well, whatever." Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you don't realize there's a difference between being emotional and being intellectually honest and taking a hard look at a situation and saying this isn't working for me, you know, and letting people know that it's okay to say I've made a mistake or I didn't think this way before, and it's okay to change your mind. And I always say the best way to know if the people around you are for you, change your mind. That's the best thing you could do. Change your mind and see how people react to you.
Oh, I've experienced that with family. Like,
Facts.
they're like, it's just like that skit we were talking about. You, oh no, you a Republican?
You as in Republic? No, we
And,
can't be a Republican.
oh sweet baby Jesus, no, not my baby. You know, I also saw one of your videos where you stated that you've been down for the Republican Party for a long time. You're not one of these newer people like myself that has come
Well,
in.
did you come along with Trump?
I well, I was an independent from 24,
Okay.
and I didn't vote for Trump. I was very uh, nervous on how he was going to govern, but I didn't vote for Hillary too because I knew her history. So I voted.
Facts.
Yeah, I voted third party. I voted for the stoner, Gary Johnson. Okay, everybody, but Gary Johnson won me over when he had a town hall, and the lady's like, "Mr. Johnson, I have been told that marijuana increases your chance of heart attacks. What do you believe about that?" And then Gary's like, "Uh, uh, uh, uh," and it falls over on stage. I was like, "Oh, this dude gives no fucks. I'm voting for him." So
No
that was
fucks
my
given.
start. Um, I was independent for a long time until, I started listening to the media when it comes to Trump, and they were just being overly crazy when
Right.
it came to him. And then I was like, come on, he can't be that bad, because I also remember people loved him. People in the community loved him,
Right.
and he was in all these movies. And then I started looking into his policies. I was like, holy shit, like he's doing something. And I was
Right.
leaning towards him, voting for him in the recent election. And what really won me over was his prison reform bill. Like, he had felons in the White House that he's freed. Like, people don't know
Facts.
how amazing that is for a president to do that. And you try to say that to some people on the left, and they're like, "Oh, he just giving us trinkets. Oh, you gonna talk about these crumbs?" And I'm like,
What you want?
"Crumbs?
You want a fucking statue to the prisoners? Because that seems like that's what y'all like. Y'all like symbolism.
Well,
you want you want a monument? Is that what you want?
I think symbolism means a lot, and that's all they care about. Symbolism and
Right.
no tangible things. You've said
Exactly.
that in many of your videos. Let's start seeing some tangible things for the community. You know, I don't
Right.
think that these people that were being freed from prison for nonviolent drug crimes are out here talking about, oh, thanks for these crumbs. They're like, oh shit, I get to go home and see my family.
But
you
even like
know.
the one woman Kim Kardashian worked to free, Alice Johnson. She got a life sentence for a first time offense on a drug charge.
Mhm.
Make that make sense, please.
It doesn't
It's
make
like
sense.
you literally take someone's entire life because they made one mistake and it was nonviolent. Like, come on, like what universe are we living in here? I was like, nah, I can't play these reindeer games with y'all.
So even though I am conservative, I do believe after someone has served their time and they've committed a nonviolent drug crime, they should also and be able to have the right to vote and be
Right.
able to have the right to bear arms again.
I agree, but I also had this debate because people kill me with this. Once you've done your time, you should get your Second Amendment rights back. I was like, okay, like if Joe blows your daughter's brains out, you're not gonna be singing that same song if he comes out and reoffends. So, no, like anything in life, there's levels. There's levels to everything. So it's like if you committed a violent crime and for some odd cook reason you get out, I'm a little hesitant on just handing you back your Second Amendment rights on that
Yes,
front.
and the last show I did state that usually 75% of people that get out of prison reoffend within the first 2 years. So
Jeez.
there should be some time, and those are also for drug crimes. Um, I worked at a state prison in Miami for 5 years, and I've seen people that have gotten out of prison, and
Hmm.
while I'm still there, they're coming back into, because I worked at a I worked
Jeez.
at a reception center. So the South Reception Center, this is where we'll get them before they go to the other prisons. I was like,
Wow.
motherfucker, didn't I just see you leave like a year ago? It's like, I
You
fucked
checking
up.
it again?
But it was for drug crimes, and
Jeez.
when you look at the history, how drug crimes sorry about that, how drug crimes affect um certain communities. It's engineered. It's I'm not so conservative, or not so like, to think that this country hasn't done some fucked up shit, mostly the CIA and these three-letter agencies.
Right.
And but again, you need to hold these people to task.
Yeah, that's a deeper conversation, but people don't ever want to talk levels on their side. They only want to talk about the bullshit on the other side. They never want to talk about, okay, on our side, what can we work on? On our side, what are the issues? What are the things we need to move the needle forward on? And I think so often people don't want to have those conversations on the police, on politicians, on
Mm.
Republican dogma. They don't want to have those deeper conversations, and it can be so frustrating sometimes because people go right for the defense and the name calling and all the shit you accuse the left of doing. They go right for that first instead of hearing what I'm saying. Like if I use the term white privilege in the video, oh my Jesus, I'm the
He trying
worst
to get
man
my
ever.
my channel
And I
banned,
was like
people.
this. I'm like this. Two mofos I don't listen to. People who deny white privilege exists and people who think everything is white privilege. I'm like, you
Ooh.
gotta balance out life. You gotta understand there's levels to this shit. It's not just all or nothing.
Well,
It's like
there's a lot of people just look at it in the duopoly of black and white.
right.
There is a gray area into things. To
And I'm
say
and I
that if I stop a car and I pull over a car, that I'm in my own biases due to media and liberal media, where they only portray blacks in a sense of either a gangbanger
mhm,
or something like that. And I've
right.
seen officers that have stopped people, and then there's a black dude with dreads, like the spiky dreads and stuff, and they're like high up here, and I'm like, calm down, talk to him. You know what I mean? Let's talk. Like, yo,
Have a
what's up, man?
conversation. He's a
Yeah, and
human
then he's
being.
like, oh, he's
Damn.
just cool. He just got some really fucking crazy hair. In the same essence, you know, I've seen, like, you're going to be less on high with a soccer mom. It is what it is. That's just
Right. Right.
reality, you
Right.
know. And like, some people are just so like, no, this is not real. Do not talk about this, And it's very difficult to have a meaningful conversation. So have you always lived in New York? AJ, we are having some technical difficulties. Did he go?
Oh, there I am. There
Oh,
you
oh,
are.
there you go.
We
Sorry.
both took a trip.
Oh,
Um
okay, okay. I was like, did I just go in the Twilight Zone?
I
There's
was
a
like,
block. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to do some editing.
I was like, "Oh, man, what happened? What happened?" So, yeah,
Okay, good. I was thank God. But have you I forgot what I was gonna say.
New
So
York.
yeah, have you always lived in New York? Because like, my instances with New York law enforcement they're rough, man.
Yeah, they're
Very rough.
rough. I mean, to a degree, they have to be. It's a small, very little city with a whole lot of freaking people. And so when you're dealing in that context of the tuna can, literally, where you just have more bodies than space, which is one of the things I was flabbergasted when I left New York, is that people have space. I was like, oh my gosh, I can walk somewhere and I don't have to bump into people and be annoyed, and I could find a moment if I need to be alone. And that was, so I left New York in what was that, 2013, and I moved to LA, and that was the worst decision. But leaving New York was the goal. It wasn't really about the destination. It was about, I just have to get out of this environment, because something in my spirit was just like, this isn't where you belong. Your vision is not going to be fulfilled here. You're not going to get what you need out of life here. And so often people are like, "Oh my God, you're from New York City. Why did you leave?" I'm like, "Because it's my hometown." And like anyone's hometown, you want to get the hell out of it. So like it just so happens my hometown is the most diverse city in the world. I don't know, whatever. I'm just ready to go. And I don't like to visit.
Well, that also just, in human nature, it is to take risks. Success comes with risk,
Facts.
and there's a lot of people that are afraid to take risks in life when it comes
Facts.
to their career. They'll stay in one place for so long, and then, great example. I put myself through the police academy, and I applied to so many different agencies within Miami-Dade County. And if you don't speak the Espanol, you're not good. I could speak enough Spanish to get myself some numbers, but that's about it.
Got you.
um, so a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, apply up here, and you'll be hired in 3 months." And I was
Wow.
hired in 2 months.
Wow.
And but again, I had to take a risk. I had to leave everything behind. I had to leave my career, and my wife even took a risk because we were dating at the time, and she left
Wow.
everything and came up here with me. But
She
you
moved
have
without a
to.
ring? Oh shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's ride or die. I was like, I'm not gonna leave this one. You know, um, she's a smart woman. She's actually in theater too. Well, not theater. She sings.
Okay.
So
That's part of theater.
yeah, she sings. She has a Motown band that she participates in. So,
Okay.
but
Oh yeah, I saw some of your videos of her singing.
yeah, she's amazing. I was like, oh God, how are you not? But the reason being because she's afraid of she's stage fright. So
It's just adrenaline. You'll be all right.
yeah, I was like, just get one of those medical marijuana cards or something.
Facts.
Florida's
Right, because
great,
it's
man.
not legal in Florida yet, is it?
It is.
Oh, it is. Oh, well,
America, yeah,
shit.
it's been legal for 2 years,
Oh,
3
cool.
years. Yeah, it's been legal for
Oh,
a while. Bro, as soon as I got legal, I was pulling people over, and I was like, I smell marijuana. They'd be whipping out that card like, bah. I was like, oh, okay, calm down. Look at you, Tyrone. You done got
facts.
your medical marijuana card. Talking about you got back pain because you fell off the tractor at Lowe's.
Well, you fell off the treadmill at the gym. Now
Yeah,
I
like,
need a medical marijuana card.
yeah. So, in a greater conversation, when we talk about, law enforcement, over the last year, law enforcement in this country has been really taking well, it has. Some people in the community, some people in the United States have complained about law enforcement's heavy handedness. Whether it needs to be done in certain cases, it does, or whether it doesn't need to be done. And over the last year and a half, coming up to 2 years, law enforcement in this country has bought along and gone along with the authoritarianness with certain jurisdictions, more so blue jurisdictions in this country, and without any hesitation.
Mm,
And it has really gotten me thinking that, the conservative, the back the blue crowd, have they sat and thought that, hey, I support law enforcement, I back the blue, but are you going to continue to back the bullshit? That's straight from you. I took your line there. Um, and the thing is where you will have law enforcement during these shutdowns break up um, church services. And
right.
it happened here in the state of Florida when Governor DeSantis shut down for 2 weeks. There was
Wow.
a pastor in Tampa, and he had an open church service where he had his parishioners park their vehicles in the parking lot, and then he was doing a radio transmission into their vehicles and to have church service, which I thought that's a great idea um, because it kept families together,
Right.
and the CDC's guidelines at the time that ever changed, he was within that. Tampa PD arrested him
Wow.
for violating that, and you're violating multiple parts of the First Amendment. You're violating, freedom of assembly, freedom of
Hmm.
religion, and freedom
Yeah.
of speech.
Right.
And these officers arrested him, and I do believe he sued the agency. But
You should have.
regardless, there's a certain point where you're going to say, "Hey, Sarge, I'm not going to do that. You can do that if you want to, but I'm not going to."
Right.
And if you don't have officers that stand up and say, "All right, this is wrong," in New Jersey, you had um, law enforcement shutting down people's businesses. Even in one incident where a lady, she was selling all of her knickknacks from her store on Facebook Live. She had the store
Mm.
closed. Law enforcement showed up to her store and said, "Close down your business."
Wow. That's
So
that.
at
Mm-mm.
one point are conservatives going to make sure, one, if it's a sheriff's office or an elected position, where you elect somebody that is going to do the right thing and make sure their officers do not violate the constitution and do not violate people's rights? And then at one point where you will have conservatives basically say, "Hey, there's certain people in this country that have talked about misuse with law enforcement. Maybe we should listen to them."
And exactly. And I could also, but I can't go to church, but I can take my black ass to Target. Um,
Exactly.
and spend
Target.
my unemployment check that you so graciously gave me. But here's the thing. If you want to win, you got to have people around you who will tell you you're fucking up. Period. You got to have people around you who tell you when you're making mistakes. You got to tell people, as an artist, I don't want people around me. Yeah, everything's great. Yeah, that's great. Everything. I love everything you've done. My antennas go up immediately because I'm like, I have to have done something. So I'm like, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. No one gets it right all the time. And I think it was which artist was it? Was it Justin Timberlake or Beyonce? It was one of them. But they was just like, you want people around you who tell you no. Why? Because you want to make sure that you keep producing the best quality product. You don't want to, because then they were like, once you do that, your image starts to look a little crazy. The songs aren't as good. The image is people are questioning the image. They don't know where to follow this creatively. So you want people on your team. So when I say back the blue, but don't back the bullshit, I mean, you've got to be able to call out those people on your team who are fucking up. And if you don't, you're just part of the problem. And so when I ask these questions, or when I probe, and when I make these statements, people have a whole fucking tantrum sometimes. And I'm like, bro, you don't realize I'm on your team, right? Because if I was your enemy, you would know. Let's be clear. So I'm on your team. And if I want you to win, I have to be able to critique you. And if I can't critique you, and if I can't tell you when you fucking up, why am I here? I'm not here to spout talking points and to stand by the police officer and every fucking instant that happens. That is not my purpose. I am not wired that way. I am not wired to, I like money, but I want to make money on my terms. So I'm not going to spout a bunch of talking points every time I turn on my damn phone or my camera and say, well, what do they want to hear? Let's get the 5 talking points that the conservatives like so I can go with it. I don't give a fuck about your talking points. If I don't agree with your talking points, they're not coming out of my fucking mouth. And if I can challenge your talking points, you best believe I can challenge it and articulate why I'm challenging it. And so if I've said all of that and you are still mad, not my fucking problem.
You see, and that's where you're 100% correct, because you gotta, just by the law of average, you're gonna have people that make mistakes.
Facts.
You're gonna have bad hires in an agency. You're going to have hotheads in an agency. You're gonna have
Facts.
that one guy that shows up on a call, and all the other officers that are just calm, cool, collector, like, oh fuck. Let's wrap this shit up before a fucking dickhead over here rile this guy up that
Right.
we just calmed the fuck down. That we're like,
Right.
listen, cops don't want to do. Listen, normal cops do not want to do fucking paperwork. Okay,
I was
a,
just
a,
about to say
a
that.
use of force paperwork will take up your whole motherfucking night. And really, what you want to do, and especially some of the younger cops, they want to go to the Wawas or something and hang out and talk to the chicks there, okay? Or they just want to go hang out or do something, or they want to go hunt like dope, or they want to do something. They don't want to sit there on a the domestic disturbance, and that they've just calmed down. They've separated birth parties, and then Mr. Small Dick over here shows up and then riles everybody the fuck up. You know, like
I'm in charge. I'm in charge here. What
yeah,
the hell's
or
going on here? I'm like, oh
yeah, and
god, here we go.
and we, as law enforcement, I've been in a number of shootings in my agency. Yeah,
Mhm.
we are ready to go handle business, but
Right.
you do need the cool-headed officer to show up. I've been in foot pursuits where I've chased the motherfucker down. First thing, you're making me run. I got short legs, and that's a lot of energy I got to do. And then, if you don't give up, we gonna fight. But then
Facts.
you need your second officer to say, "Boom, I got this, Corey. I'll take over."
Right.
And that's the partnership. That's what you need.
Okay.
And then it's talking into, calling out people within your own side, whether it's your own party or your own political ideology. And in law enforcement, I really feel when you look at the greater scale and you look at some of these content creators, some of them that I've loved, like I love Candace Owens.
Hmm.
Okay. But I disagree with Candace Owens
Exactly. And you
often,
should.
often.
I don't worship you,
Um,
motherfucker. You a human being just like me.
Exactly. I like Brandon Tatum, but I disagree with Brandon Tatum.
Yeah, I
Okay.
disagree with him on several things. I mean, I respect him, and he was very nice to me at the Blexit LA. I will say that.
Yeah. Oh no, I like him. I disagree with him on a lot of things. I recently disagreed with him on the Ahmaud Arbery decision.
I think most conservatives disagreed with him on
I,
Marbury.
I,
And
I,
I think he took the Jussie Smollett. That's what I call it now, the Jussie Smollett. So basically, I'm gonna stick by what the hell I said, even though I know I'm wrong. But I'm gonna
oh
stick by
yeah,
it.
because I
I'm gonna
saw
stick
his
by it at all
video.
costs.
I I was I
It's
was
like,
waiting
okay,
for
got you.
his
Oh
video
man, I
where
think I
he was
lost you.
going to say, all right, the all the evidence came out. And that's another thing too. When you're in, either content creation, you're trying to get your word out as quickly as possible. But
Right,
unfortunately, when you do that, you don't get all the information as possible. And that's
right,
where the problem is. So in the initial incident, he's trying to, and I hate it when they do this. And when I mean they, I mean certain conservative content creators, like, okay, let's focus on Ahmaud Arbery, where they immediately go to his criminal record. Now,
right,
in some cases, yes, you do need to look at somebody's criminal record to determine on their motive. But his criminal record did not have anything to do with this case. You have to look at the case on what the McMichaels knew at the time of the incident. All they saw was this dude
right.
running down the street, and he looked exactly like the dude in the videos that happened a couple of days ago. And I did a show on this, like episode 2, and then Brian Tatum still stuck to his
Of course.
conservatives talking points, like, nope, he committed a felony. And I was like, wait a minute, time out. No, he did not. He did not commit a burglary,
Right.
because I'm a cop, so I know he did not commit a burglary, because you have to prove that he had the intent to commit a crime within.
Even if he robbed the fucking house and came out with the couch on his back, you still don't have the right to kill him.
You don't have, and in essence, you don't, in per Georgia law, got them close, but per Georgia law, they didn't have the authority to do a citizen's arrest because they didn't witness a crime. So,
Right.
it,
Wow, I didn't know that.
oh, I brought up the whole statute on my last episode 2. I brought up the statute and I read the statute. They have to witness the crime to do a citizen's arrest. On top of that, to catch a fleeing individual, the person had to be a the crime had to be a felony.
Hmm.
And at essence, only thing they had here was misdemeanor trespassing, which they did not witness. So
Right,
if they, from the fruit of the poisonous tree, if they are already breaking the law in essence, they cannot claim self-defense. And if anything, Ahmad was defending himself poorly, I might add, but he
right,
was defending himself. And he's defending himself from two agitators who are in essence committing false imprisonment. They're breaking the law. So
right.
Tatum's stance on this was very off base, and I felt it was more on, being prideful. And we have to get away from that. We have to be able to say, "Hey, we're wrong," or "I was wrong on this." And
It was, right, and that's where I respect you. Like I was saying, I'm having some upload issues, but I did a video on Juicy Smoulier, and I was I was just like, If he had just said, you know what, I fucked up. You know what, I lied. You know what, give me, people, give people time. People will come around. But you are riding this lie right to the jail cell, basically, at this point. And so even if you said now, hey, I lied, you're still going down. so so it was like, bro, you could have avoided this whole situation if you had just said in the beginning, yeah, I fucked up. I didn't realize this would get this far. I didn't realize it was going to be this big. And I apologize. But no, you can't bring yourself to do that because you don't have that level of accountability to say, hey, I fucked up. But speaking of Brandon Tatum, did you see the live he did with Hotep Jesus and Antonia Aquafor
Is that where
and
he lost his shit
other
and
people? Yeah,
cursed them out?
where he spazzed the fuck out, and
Yeah,
that was, and I
he
saw
started
it
calling
coming,
him,
and I saw it
dropping
because
M bombs.
they were like, we're not letting up on you, bro. And and I don't know, something transpired with him and Hotep before the live, and that's what really triggered him. And then he just lost it. And so I was like, whatever happened before the live, I don't care about. But the point is, you're sitting here and people are really articulating actual law to you, and you are still resisting because you're the police officer. And I'm like, this is the level, and I like Brandon. Let's be clear, I like him. But in that instance, I disagree with him. I also disagree with him on the Central Park Five, but that's a whole nother conversation. But if you can't tell people when they fucking up, then they ain't your homie.
Well, I listen to Hotep Jesus a lot. Um,
Hotep.
Hotep Ben told you. Hey, this is my show. I'm giving him plugs.
Right.
Uh, but
I like Hotep Jesus. Move it along.
yeah. Anywho, that guy, I don't know. Hotep, I don't know what that means. um, but
Oh man.
um, it it's when these people they have their brands, and I get the brands. Like I want somebody else to challenge me. I want somebody to challenge my ideas.
Right.
And one person that did challenge my ideas was this Hotep character. Um,
Hmm.
and I changed my mind on reparations because of him.
Oh, from what to what?
Well, I was against it
Okay.
because I was against it, and I was like, you don't want to give people money because that's the same problem we've been having in welfare. And then Hotep is like, hold up, let's look at history. How many times have the United States government have given reparations to Jews from the Holocaust, to in Native Americans who also enslaved Black people, um,
No, they're
to
our homies. We're, Native Americans are our homies.
uh,
So are Hispanics, apparently.
yeah,
No,
and
no, no, no racism from Hispanics. But go
none.
ahead.
I live in Miami, bro. Um, so he actually ended up with facts. I sat back and I said I had to question my thinking, and then I had to do my own research and change it. And then he's like, "Yeah, we don't have to give people money, but how about tax exemption for ADOS or something along the lines of that?" I was like, "Okay, that's reasonable," and that's what they're doing with Native Americans. So I said, "Okay, I can understand his standpoint, and I have since changed my opinion."
Well, I also think that Trump's platinum plan was a form of reparations too. And
Oh,
I think people missed the mark on that one because they didn't see the bigger picture because he's the racist, xenophobic, transphobic, homophobic, phobic is everything you could think of. He's all of those things, right? So I think when people missed the mark on that and decided to vote for Massa,
oh shit.
and and said this is the option for the black people, and I told these dumb blacks out here what the fuck was going to happen because the script has been written for the last 50 years. They're going to woo you, they're going to give you symbolism, which was this affirmative action hire called Kamala Harris or Kamala, whatever, however the fuck you say her name. They're going to woo you with her. Y'all going to get, oh, she's black, she's a woman, she's female, let's put her in position. Bitch ain't ready. Why are we hiring her? She not ready. She ain't ready to be no damn vice president. She was barely a senator. So I don't want to hear that. And so we vote for this. And what happens? Y'all get that Zoom call where he basically said, I'm not doing shit for you. I've done enough for the blacks. Al Sharpton sitting there looking stupid with egg on his face, and the rest of those black leaders in that Zoom call. And everybody just seemed to overlook that meeting and then highlighted it as progress. And I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, did y'all not get the context of what he said? He didn't mince words. Like he literally sat there and told Al Sharpton, I've done enough. And I just want to know what you've done. Because Joe Biden is, I don't understand how you've been in government 50 years, along with Maxine Waters, along with Nancy Pelosi, along with Chuck Schumer, along with the list goes on and on and on. Y'all been in government for how long? And you mean to tell me that you haven't solved one damn problem? Al Sharpton, you've been famous longer than I've been alive, bro. You mean to tell me that you set your life's mission to solve these racial issues and to bring unity and all this stuff, and you mean to tell me your lifestyle gets better, your quality of life gets better, how the money you demand to speak gets better, and yet the people are still fighting for the same shit 50, 60 years later? Either you're really bad at your job or you're a damn good hustler. But I'm gonna go with the hustler for 200, Alex.
Well, grifting is very lucrative. I
You
mean,
can, I mean, you can grift, but it's one thing to grift. It is quite another to just lie to people and
well,
tell them we're helping you. We're here for you, and we're gonna support you, and we're gonna get you out of these situations, or marching and getting people gobs of money because their criminal ass relative got killed in some stupid way that they could have avoided. But that's a whole nother conversation.
mm,
Yep, sip that drink, brah.
I'm gonna have to drink that one, bro. That was good. Woo. Hot takes, hot takes. You're correct. Did you notice on the, because I did play it on the, I did a TikTok video where Al Sharpton was there at the Ahmaud Arbery, where his father said all lives matter. He looked so mad that there was a not guilty, that there was a guilty verdict. He's like, "Damn, I had speaking arrangements set up. I had all this money lined
That was
up."
the bag. You just
Yeah,
fumbled the bag, jury. Y'all fumbled my bag. How dare y'all convict these men?
you know, to address the Trump thing, and that's what another thing too. I actually sat and I tried to talk to some family members, and one of my cousins, she's a doctor. She was born in Jamaica just like I have, and she is so in love with Kamala Harris because she's Jamaican. I was like, she ain't fucking Jamaican. She was born here in the U.S.
She ain't even
Like,
talked to a Jamaican father. But
yeah,
anyway,
like her dad is upset because she's talking about smoking weed and stuff. With the whole stereotype thing,
right, of course.
and her parents are educated. They're both professors, so like the way she acts, like, oh, America is so oppressive, yet you are vice president, and
That's the
like
shit I say all the time. All these damn Negroes up here in positions of power, and y'all never tell motherfuckers how y'all got there. But y'all up in these elitist groups that y'all know the average black person can't get into.
yeah,
But you ain't giving them the keys to the kingdom or the tools and the tips to how to get into these damn meetings and how to make these deals, how to build a better life, how to get out of the fucking slums that they live in. But you'll share with somebody that they're oppressed. But if you tell people they're oppressed in their formative years, they grow up to believe that shit, and that's where the mental shit comes in. And so
yeah.
you're literally walking around believing that the color of your skin is this handicap or this thing that's holding you back from the world. And it's like, I don't give a fuck if you don't like me because I'm black. Unless you fucking with my money, on my personal shit, my family, anything like that, I don't give a fuck what you think. Get the fuck out of my way. I got things to do.
Well, see, that's also too what I used to tell people when it came to Trump. They're like, "Oh, you're going to vote for Trump. He's racist." I was like, "Why? Can y'all do something for me? Can y'all stop
I
with the
was
whole
like,
like, Trump is racist stuff? At the end of the day,
right.
is his policies making me money? Because look at y'all
Facts.
motherfuckers now. Look at you now,
Facts.
paying damn near $1 more for gas. Look at you now. I don't have to like somebody to vote for him. This is a business transaction. What
Facts.
I'm doing here with you is your policy going to make me and my family and friends and this country better? If it's not, I
Facts.
don't want to fucking hear shit from you. Keep it
Right.
moving, and we're done. And
Right.
this is what these black Americans in this, just minorities in this fucking country, where they're looking at the party and they're saying, you know, what they need to ask, what have you done for me lately? And this is what Ice Cube, when I I was listening to Ice Cube's
Yeah.
live, like, yeah,
Jeez. Yo, for real. I was like, this first of all, I was like, Ice Cube, first of all, he don't do shit for y'all. He done built his life. He eating well. His kids went to the best schools. His kids didn't go to Crenshaw High. His kids went to private schools. His kids were educated well and trained well. That's why his son can step in as an actor, because he trained for that shit. And so he didn't have to do shit. And so literally he wanted to reach back and help out in bulk black folks. And so he went to both campaign. He went to the Biden campaign at the time and the Trump administration with the plan. One said, "We'll talk to you after the election," and the other said, "We'll take the meeting. Come on, let's talk." And Trump was like, "Actually, I'm working on something here, so let's put this shit together and see what we could do." Y'all ran y'all votes behind Massa, and Massa has did he, Ice Cube said they had one. He had one meeting with a like an advisor or somebody on the Trump on not Trump the
A,
Biden
s-
team,
a secretary.
and that was it. There was just one little follow-up meeting that didn't mean anything. But this Democrats don't want y'all black asses to win in bulk, because if you win, you'll wake the fuck up and you'll stop recklessly throwing your votes at people. And this is what I say to people all the time. If Malcolm X said this shit best, if you have a block of freaking votes where you can sway an election, and you keep going to the same motherfuckers with the same, "Oh, okay, they're gonna do it," and they only come around and dance for you and talk to you and make you act like the color of your skin is this disability that's gonna somehow, the world's gonna stomp the fuck out of you for it, and then you throw your weight behind them, and then they get in the office, they do all the shit that they want to do, all the agendas they want to fulfill, and they might throw your ass a bone. And it's usually some symbolic shit that don't mean anything in the bigger picture. I don't give a fuck if Juneteenth is a federal holiday or not. It's not going to sway my pockets one way or the other. I'm not against it and I'm not for it. I don't care. You know, I understand. And I'm like, and you don't have to pick which one. They're both American. 4th of July is American. Juneteenth is American. Celebrate both. I don't give a fuck. Either way, I need to make my money. I don't care about this. So people didn't wake up. People threw their weights behind and threw a bag out the window. Like Angela Stanton said, I had the bag. I had the bag for y'all. I had the money, and y'all fumbled the bag by voting for this motherfucker. Now deal with him. And people who keep saying that gas prices are not affected by the president, you dumb asses, who do you think controls the deals we get on oil? The motherfucker at Pennsylvania Avenue. So yes, when it's affecting Texas, it's a national problem, because Texas really could do shit on its own. But clearly, if it's affecting all 50 states, you got a problem federally.
Well, yeah, and then we go back to OPEC and beg OPEC. Trump basically said he wanted to make, and he did make the United States energy independent. And I hadn't seen gas prices that low since I was in high school.
Right.
I was like, oh shit, $5, we could go out just fill a tank. And
Man, when I first moved to Texas, I have a hybrid car. I could fill it up for like $20. Now it costs like 35. I'm a little annoyed.
yeah, my wife's got a SUV. She's like, it's $50 to fill a tank this week, and I was like, yeah, you know,
Jeez.
and it but it also, when you look at inflation in this country, it I love it how the Democrats like to talk about everything that affects the black community. They're talking about coronavirus. It specifically affects the black community, but they don't bring up how inflation affects minorities and poor individuals,
Of
where they
course
have to
not.
pay more for bread.
Well,
Where
because they didn't give niggas education for that. So they know niggas not going to look up inflation and how the fuck it really affects them. They're not going to look up money and how money works. They're not going to look up where the power lies. When people are telling you to go into corporate America and dumb yourself down, what the fuck you think you're going to get out of corporate America? No one's going to hand you shit. These white boys out here stomping on each other. You think they're going to treat you with kid gloves? What the fuck is wrong with people? Like, they fucking each other up. You think they're going to be like, oh, well, the black guy, let's be nice to him. No, they're going to stomp on your ass too. And if you make yourself a fucking wuss and you go up in there being mild and meager and not asserting yourself, yeah, you gonna get shit out of it. Period. It's a fucking dog eat dog world, and I don't know why people don't get that. No one's gonna coddle your ass to power. Period. You can
well,
fuck your way to the
when you
top
when
like
you
our
have,
VP.
and they also too, if you look at they try to make sure that people go to college and stuff like that. That breeds subservience when they don't
Right.
live on their own and they haven't started. You could have somebody that come out of high school and then go right into the job field. They would have more experience in life than
Right.
somebody that went to college right after high school, graduating at 24 and does not know how to do fucking shit and they're riddled with debt because that's what they want to
Exactly.
do. They want you to keep you at a certain level, even continue paying off this debt and
Yeah. Even
going
with the
forward. And then there were so many people right now on Instagram that were like, "Oh, Joe Biden's gonna pay off our debts. Joe Biden's gonna pay off our debts." And I was like, "Y'all don't know shit about Joe Biden." I got into an argument with this one chick, and I was like, "What on earth makes you think that Joe Biden is gonna pay off your debt when he was the one that authored the bill, okay,
right.
that prevented you from declaring your student loan debt as a bankruptcy?" He wrote the bill on that. So what on earth makes you think he's gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna make sure we're gonna wipe all that stuff out. And then on top of that, these people do not understand when you say you clear student loan debt, that is helping the wealthy because the
Right.
largest amount of student loan debt are held by the wealthy because they can afford to go to, they could take out loans to go to the doctorate program, their PhD
Exactly.
programs, their master's programs, and they are the ones that are going to benefit more because they
Right.
hold 90%, no, about 80% of the student loan debt. So
And
y'all,
also, they're going into professions where they can pay the fucking debt back. When you're up here, fucking majoring in lesbianism, dance theory, what the fuck are you gonna get from that? Like, except $20,000 in debt and mad. Like,
and
what the
rash,
fuck? Like, I part of me wish I did not go to college for theater. I could have learned most of that shit on YouTube. But there's a part of it that was necessary, but there was the overwhelming bulk of it I did not. I didn't have to take out loans to do that shit, and I could have literally just did most of that shit just through life experience. And so I tell people that all the time. There's nothing wrong with a trade. There's nothing wrong with not graduating, because we only tend to qualify education when we're debating someone, and we think that, oh, if you don't have these certain credentials, you can't debate. And I'm like, why the fuck can't someone debate who has a high school diploma, or someone who doesn't even have a high school diploma, or they have a GED or whatever? Your intellect doesn't stop at what degree you earned. And so people, they get that fucked up so often. And it's like, a degree is cool, and there are certain professions where you absolutely need, if you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, certain levels of education is necessary, and retraining. I get that. But again, if you're doing these little stupid ass socialist, what is it, sociology and all these dumb, like, unless you're going further in a degree with that, and you're actually going to get into a job field where you can make some real coins, there's no need for it.
do
No
you
need for
know
it.
when college started becoming extremely expensive?
No.
When the government got involved. The
Ah.
government, the government pushed when they came in that you could with federal loans, student loans, where they said you cannot deny a student, that the student had to get the loans. Okay. Before it was
Wow.
based on your credit and stuff like that. This is when the government got involved and colleges were like, shit, if the government's going to fit the bill, then let's increase our prices. And then
Right.
steadily, as it went on from the 60s, um,
Jeez.
college got involved. So every time government gets involved, they fuck shit up.
But the
And
government's your homie, right? The government's the homie. That's your friend, right? That's the person that cares about you. That's the person that gives a fuck about you.
if
Place
that
all
was
these
the case,
limitations on your life. But yeah, that's my friend.
if that was the case, all these inner cities, their schools would be the best.
Right. Instead, your kids are coming out dumber and dumber and dumber, and you don't understand why, and you want to distract them by teaching them about skin color versus the shit that really holds the power in the world, which is
Well, if you
fucking
look
money.
at, well, look at this too. Like, Democrats are against school choice,
Of
which
course.
I'm like, wait a minute. If this school that has been here for decades have continued to have lower literacy ratings and kids not graduating, and the parents like, okay, that actually is taking the time to go to the school and trying to get them an education, says, hey, I want to take my kids somewhere else, and this school is failing, it's not working. Not
Right.
only on that, the minute my child tries to do anything or tries to be educated, he is berated by his classmates. You know how many
Yo,
times
I mean,
bro,
as a little nerdy ass black kid who liked to read, trust me, I know that
bruh.
reading was like kryptonite to niggas. And I was like, are you kidding me? Me reading a book is being white or trying to be white or want to be white, or me not listening to hip hop 24/7 is means I want to be something else. Like, no, it just means it's the shit that comes to me naturally and I like it. Period. It has nothing to do with black and white. It has everything to do with what the fuck works for you as an individual. Because what black folks also try to do is group us all together. Like, we all got one fucking brain. It's like, no, we're different. We have different experiences. We're from different backgrounds. We have different lifestyles. No, even when people say black leader, I'm like, who, what one black person can lead all the black people? Because you got so many different types of black people. You got black Christians, you got black Muslims, you got black atheists, you got black LGBT. Who gonna take the reins and lead everybody? None of them, because there's always gonna be people in those respective groups and be like, I ain't following that motherfucker. I don't know that shit they doing. I don't agree with it. So how about be an individual? How about build the life you want to build? How about stop making excuses and go beast out and do what the fuck you need to do to make your life great and pass something on to the next generation? That's how you respect your ancestors, not by acting like you living in the shit that they went through. Period.
Period.
People kill me with that. Just like, you know how many lives I've said that on, and people just, well, you just talk about you. Well, who the fuck am I supposed to talk about? The nigga
Oh no,
sitting
one
next
thing
to
I
me?
fucking hate so much is where a motherfucker will say, "Oh, that's an anecdotal story." How many motherfucking anecdotal stories do you have to see to where you say, "All right, there might be something about this entrepreneur shit and doing the right thing and reading and fucking branching out from the same
Exactly.
bullshit and making something of yourself." You know, these
Facts.
are the same people, like you said earlier, these, you know, these individuals that are in higher levels, these black people that are in higher levels that would like to say,
Hmm.
hey, America is racist, America's full of fucking the Klan and shit, that are in these high offices like Ilhan Omar out here talking
Oh
about,
gosh.
you know, woke in
That
the streets,
special lady.
oppressed in the sheets, out here talking about fuck white people, but she actually is fucking white people. And
A
where
lot of them are fucking white people, which is, I don't understand how you say, Don Lemon, that white people are what, the most evil, the biggest threat to terrorists or some shit he said. And I'm like, but you going home to a white pinga. Make that make sense though. And AOC the same thing, and Kamala Harris the same thing. Y'all all married to white men, and instead of making it about race, make it about compatibility. It's like, yo,
exactly.
if you compatible with this person, it shouldn't be about their color. It should be about, yo, we fuck with each other, we cool, let's do this. Period.
Yeah, and you're on the, and then the minute too, you'll have some conservatives where this is the people, the same people where that just because you're conservative, then you're talking about, you know, bettering the community or minority communities, and then they're like, they figure out that you're either married to a white woman or something along the lines of that. Oh hell no, this shit. Oh, so if I was talking about like the racist shit and I was married to a white person, then it would have been okay. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
come on, like, let's be fucking consistent here. But oh, look at here with your white girl.
Did you see that TikTok that was going around with that black woman who was saying black men are failing? And she had one on a whole soliloquy, and then she had like stats, and black men were just,
Stats. She had black
and
stats.
she had stats, black women are out earning black men and blah 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 blah. And I mean, and here's the thing, her delivery was fucked up, but what she was saying wasn't wrong. So I was sitting here like, so black men are stitching the video, replying to the video, working out in the gym, you know, holding up their degrees and and I was like, that's cool, but that's not what she's talking about. And like, this goes back to saying white privilege. It's like, if someone says something like that, it's either applicable to you or it's not. So when she says black men are failing, I know I'm not in that category.
But you know who
So,
she's talking about, though.
right. And I know exactly what you're talking about, because I see Buki and James, standing there all the time, with their woman paying for everything. And, or she takes control of the situation and you stand back like a simp. I'm like, I can't do shit like that. I'm not wired that way. So I was like, if you don't understand what she's saying and you just don't like the delivery, you can go right back to take this back to Donald Trump. His delivery was fucked up most of the time, but what he was saying wasn't wrong. what the hell do you what the hell do you have to lose? He said it terribly, horribly, harsh as fuck, but I'm a New Yorker. I respect the gangster. So I was like, yeah, what the hell do you have to lose? period. And it's
I
like,
keep
oh my
telling
God,
people,
did you hear how he said that? Oh my God, my feeling that the heart. I was like, it's if you shut up and process the information versus the delivery of the information, you would see that what the hell do you have to lose? You've been voting one way for 60 years and you motherfuckers have no fruit. What else do you need me to say to you at this point? It's been 60 years. You want somebody to come and rock you to bed? Motherfucker, no. The next generation, we are 3 generations down now, motherfucker. Let's go.
well, that's the same thing. You look at blacks that come from other countries, Haiti, Jamaica, the
Yo,
islands, and they do
when
well.
facts.
And
Yep.
then so I always say, hey, but if this country's so racist, then they should also be on the bottom of the totem pole. They
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
but they work hard because then they know what they came from. Like I'm going to take my girls down to Jamaica. I want them to see how fucking rough it is and how
Right.
easy there is, and they complain about their fucking cold chicken nuggets sometimes. Like it just drives me fucking
Nah,
crazy.
Corey. Nah, Corby.
Yeah,
I
they're
want
like,
my 40 acres and my mule, dog. You know what I'm saying, man? I can't do this oppression, man. Yo, the government owe me everything, bro. The United States is an oppressive state, bro. You got to make this happen, bro. I ain't buying that shit, yo. You could work hard, yo. I got to work 50 times as hard as a white man just to get the same fucking result, G. I'm just saying, bro. This shit is bullshit, man.
one thing I notice is that I hate that so much with the passion because if people really look at the world, the United States is the 1%.
Facts.
Like motherfuckers out here obese as fuck, and bitches in Africa talking skinny as shit, talking about, oh damn, I'm hungry. Like you got a
Yo,
fridge? You have a fridge.
you
It
have
keep.
a whole
You are telling me
fridge.
it keeps your food cold?
You
Like
got
motherfuckers do not know how easy they have it.
you got
Okay,
indoor plumbing. Like
bro, you don't have to go dig a hole and take a shit.
facts,
You don't have to
facts.
take a. I remember when I was in Jamaica at 5 years old, I was taking a bath in a bucket in front of my grandfather's house.
Wow.
And to say
Jeez.
that I could, this is just another anecdotal story. I don't give a fuck. If to say that you could have an opportunity to come to this country and to where I went to college for criminal justice like a fucking idiot. Like I did not, I had to go to school to arrest a motherfucker. No, I didn't need to fucking do that. Okay. But, you know,
Facts.
you could come into this country, you could go to school and make something of yourself. And then you have these same motherfuckers out here talking about, oh, I can't make it.
Did you
Bullshit.
try? Or people, and another thing that motherfuckers don't understand is that failure is not unique to black people. Most people fail most of their lives. Like in most things they take on, there's a greater degree of failure than success. And it's like you take those failures and you learn from those failures. You don't take the failures and pack your shit up and go home. You take the failure and you're like, okay, what the hell did I do wrong? And try to correct it or just don't do that again and keep moving forward. But succeeding and trying to achieve something in a unique way in this non-employee mindset, it's going to take a different version of it took a different version of me. So it was like you can't go operating in the world and the shit that you were taught and think you're going to get a good result. Sitting back complaining all day don't breed shit but more complaining because you just going to keep failing. It's going to keep sucking. It's going to continue to be terrible. And people don't get that bigger picture. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin at this point and everything to do with the fuck you're filling your mind up with, period.
And your resolve. A
Right.
perfect example. I have a family member that went to prison.
Mhm.
He got out of prison young, and he got a CDL, bought his own truck, and has his own trucking company.
Facts.
It's only him. He's the CEO, but he's making $50,000 a year. That's
Exactly.
you, you know what I'm saying? Like, and most of the stuff he writes off because of gas and stuff like that. And he runs his own truck. He runs his own business. And
Wow.
especially when we're having a shortage of truckers, he's gonna be banking.
Exactly.
And it's
I'm like,
all dependent on how much he wants to work.
facts.
He didn't need to go to college. He
Exactly.
didn't need to, it's the only thing he has to pay for is his truck, but everything he's writing off on. So when you said earlier about vocational schools and you said things like that, we as Americans need to know that there are other options than going to do, underwater basket weave studies, or some bullshit. That there's opportunities that, like, I'm retiring. I started. in my law enforcement career at 23. I'm retiring at 48. I'm already looking at my
Wow.
additional career, my second career. And that's because I never stopped, and I kept going. And yes, it's anecdotal, but at a certain point, people can say, "Damn, maybe I
Well,
could
if
do
I
that."
can't share my fucking testimony and how I did it, which is what most people should do, then what the fuck do you want me to do? Sit back and complain with you? Like I don't get shit like that. I'm not gonna sit back and make excuses for anything. If I fuck up, I fuck up. If I succeed, I succeed. But the point is, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna sit here and let nobody stop me. The train keeps rolling. That's it. Period. On God.
So we honestly, I did not know that time is flying by so fast, and we're not going to have time to get to the other videos that I wanted to. But I am going to say I really enjoyed our conversation,
Yes,
and
sir.
it is nice to see someone that one is not for the bullshit, whether it's the right or left,
Right.
and that will call out anybody and is for the grifting that is correct. All right.
Yes, my website is coming in a few days. I'll send you a DM. You can share my shit.
Oh, I'm
Or as,
going
as
to.
Craig Long says, buy my shit.
But as we wrap up, um, again, we need to continue the grifting.
Facts.
We need to focus on our goals and our personal successes. We need to encourage
Exactly.
each other, and we need to move forward and stop looking in the past. And this is the biggest fucking problem with certain people in this country, and they don't
Right.
want to move forward, and they don't want to make this bread. So,
Exactly.
AJ, thank
Yes.
you
Yes,
for
sir.
joining us.
Appreciate it.
And for the rest of you, I'll see you later. I'm going to have another show later this week with Valkyrie to Valhalla. So please check into that. But as always, take care of your loved ones. Grift easy.